Welcome back to Building Foundations. Last time we were talking about what goes into waterproofing costs right here in Vaughan.
Yeah, that was episode 18. Good discussion.
Definitely. Today, though, we're taking a close look at our neighbors just down the road in Richmond Hill.
Right. Whether you're in a beautiful spot like Mill Pond, maybe South Richvale, or even Langstaff, water issues, well, they don't really respect property lines, do they?
They really don't. And as anyone around here knows, our weather, it can be unpredictable.
Oh, absolutely. Heavy downpours 1 minute, then you've got the spring thaw.
Yeah.
All that snow melt. It adds up.
And it often leads straight to damp basements, water damage, headaches, basically. You might have even seen some signs yourself around your own Richmond Hill home.
It's more common than people think.
It is. But the good news is you're not just stuck waiting for it to happen. As a homeowner in Richmond Hill, there are definitely proactive things you can do.
Absolutely. And that's what we want to dive into today. We've pulled together like 6 key strategies based on what we see day in, day out at DGI waterproofing and, stuff we share on our blog too.
Think of this as your personal guide to keeping ahead of potential water problems in Richmond Hill.
Exactly. So where do we kick things off?
Well, let's start at the bottom, right? Essential basement waterproofing. It seems obvious, but maybe it's not.
Yeah. And for Richmond Hill, it's often more than just a nice to have. It can be pretty critical.
What really caught my eye is a stat from the city of Richmond Hill itself. They noted, I think, nearly 40% of homes in some areas experience water seepage annually.
40%. Yeah. That's a big number.
It really is. It shows it's not just, a random leak here or there. It's a pretty widespread thing.
It puts it in perspective, doesn't it? And when water gets in, it's not just annoying dampness. We see the real results, damage to the foundation itself, musty smells.
And mold. That's the big one.
Exactly. Mold is a serious health concern, and it grows fast. Frighteningly fast sometimes. It can literally double in size in just 24 to 48 hours once it has moisture.
Wow. Okay, so for folks listening, what does DGI actually do when we talk about essential waterproofing for a Richmond Hill home? What's the approach?
Well, it's really about stopping water at the source. So we take a pretty comprehensive look. It often involves sealing any foundation cracks meticulously. Those are like open doors for water.
Makes sense.
Then we often apply high-quality waterproof coatings or membranes. Think of it like a raincoat for your foundation. And for homes with ongoing issues, interior drainage systems are key.
Like French drains inside.
Exactly. Interior French drains connected sometimes to a sump pump and waterproof wall membranes. They basically catch any water that gets through before it becomes a problem and channel it away safely.
So it's a multi-layered defense, not just one thing.
Precisely. It has to be tailored to the house.
And I remember reading on the DGI blog, proper waterproofing, it's not just fixing a problem, it can actually be a decent investment.
Oh, for sure. Looking long-term, a properly waterproof basement can definitely increase your home's value. We often see estimates in the, 5 to 10% range. Plus, peace of mind is valuable, too.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's the foundation, literally. Essential waterproofing. What's strategy number 2?
Number 2 is maybe a bit unexpected for some.
Hmm?
It involves getting your hands dirty in the garden, planting rain gardens.
Rain gardens. Okay, I mean, they look nice, but how does that help keep my basement dry?
It's about managing runoff. Think about all the hard surfaces, roofs, driveways, patios. When we get a big Richmond Hill downpour, water just sheets off that stuff.
Yeah, it floods the streets sometimes.
Exactly. And it overwhelms the storm drains. Richmond Hill's own stormwater management report found that about 30% of the water hitting the sewers is just unfiltered runoff from properties like ours.
30% unfiltered. Wow.
Yeah, and that contributes to sewer backup risk and water pooling near foundations. Rain gardens act like natural sponges. You create a shallow depression planted with specific native plants that love water. It catches the runoff from your roof or driveway, lets it soak slowly into the ground instead of rushing to the street or towards your house.
So it filters it and slows it down.
Exactly. It acts as a natural filter, reduces the load on the city sewers, and keeps water away from your foundation walls. It's a really smart, sustainable approach.
And is this something the city encourages?
Very much so. Richmond Hill actively promotes rain gardens, and they even have resources to help homeowners design and build them. It's great to see that kind of support.
That is great. Are there numbers on how effective they are?
There are. Richmond Hill already has, I think, over 95 stormwater management ponds, which are crucial. But a well-placed rain garden on your property can absorb something like 30% more rainwater than just regular lawn.
30% more?
Yeah. And using native plants is key. Their deep root systems are apparently about 25% more absorbent than many non-native decorative plants. So choosing the right plants matters.
Interesting. Okay, waterproofing, rain gardens. What's number 3 on our list?
Number 3 is a mechanical workhorse, the sump pump.
Ah, yes. Heard of those.
Especially critical in some Richmond Hill spots known for higher groundwater. Think areas like Mill Pond, Crosby, maybe Southridge Vale. The water table is just naturally closer to the surface there.
Right, so they're more prone to water coming up from below.
Exactly. And the stats are pretty compelling. Homes that have a working sump pump, they experience about 95% fewer flooded basements. 95%.
Okay, that's huge. That really tells the story. How exactly does it work?
So when heavy rain or high groundwater causes water to collect around or under the foundation, it flows into a pit, some pit or basin that we install at the lowest point in the basement.
Okay.
Inside that pit is the pump. When the water level rises, a float switch kicks the pump on automatically, and it pushes the water out through a pipe away from the house.
Automatic is key, I imagine.
Absolutely. But here's the other critical piece: backup power.
Ah, good point. Storms often mean power outages.
Precisely. And something like 30% of basement floods happen because the power went out during the storm, rendering the sump pump useless. So a battery backup system isn't just nice, it's essential for reliable protection.
A safety net for your safety net makes total sense. And how much water can these things move?
A good quality pump, the kind we install at DGI, can typically handle, up to 3,000 gallons per hour, maybe even more depending on the model. It gets the water out efficiently.
3,000 gallons an hour. Okay. Sump pumps with backups noted, especially for those higher groundwater areas. What's strategy 4?
Strategy 4 takes us back outside, dealing with water in the ground around the foundation. We're talking about French drains.
French drains, okay.
These are particularly effective in Richmond Hill neighborhoods where you have a lot of heavy clay soil. Think Jefferson, Oak Ridges. We see that dense clay a lot.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't drain well at all, does it? Water just sits there.
Exactly right. Clay has very low permeability. So water pools near the foundation, builds up pressure, hydrostatic pressure, and eventually finds a way in. French drains offer a path of least resistance.
How do they work? What are they exactly?
Essentially, we dig a trench around the foundation perimeter. Inside the trench goes a perforated pipe, like a pipe with holes in it. Then we fill the trench with gravel.
Oh, okay.
The gravel allows water in the soil to flow easily into that perforated pipe. The pipe then carries the water, usually by gravity, away from your foundation to a safe discharge point, maybe downhill, or to a dry well, or sometimes connected to the sump pump system.
So it's like an underground channel intercepting the water. And how do you guys at DGI handle the install? Does it mess up the yard?
We try our best to minimize disruption. We carefully integrate the system with the landscaping. The goal is effective water management that, ideally, you don't even notice once it's done. Function and aesthetics.
That's important. People care about their yards. And how much water can these handle?
A properly installed French drain system can manage a lot of subsurface water, maybe up to 2,000 gallons per hour. Given the clay soil issues, that kind of capacity is really vital. We've seen it reduce water buildup around foundations by as much as 80%.
80% reduction. Wow. Okay. That's effective, especially for those clay soil areas. What's strategy number 5?
Number 5 moves us up slightly to how we handle water coming off the roof. We're talking about underground downspouts.
Ah, okay. So dealing with the gutters.
Exactly. Especially relevant for homes with big roofs, lots of gutter length. We see that in places like Bayview Hill, South Ridgevale sometimes. Big roofs collect a lot of water.
Makes sense. And if the downspout just dumps it right by the foundation?
You've got a concentrated load of water saturating the ground right where you don't want it. Leads to erosion, pressure, leaks. Underground downspouts fix that.
Oh, where does the water go?
Instead of the elbow at the bottom dumping water by the wall, we connect the downspout directly to a solid buried pipe. That pipe then carries the roof water away from the house, often quite far away, to a point where it can drain safely without affecting the foundation.
So it's piping the problem away. That sounds much better. Does DGI customize these?
Oh, absolutely. Every property is different. We look at the roof size, the yard slope, where the safe discharge points are. It has to be designed for the specific site.
And what kind of difference does managing downspouts properly make?
It's huge. Some studies suggest, believe it or not, up to 70% of basement water issues can be traced back, at least in part, to poor management of roof runoff right at the foundation.
70%? That's massive.
It really is. And a good underground system can carry that water 50, 100 feet or more away from the house. Big impact.
Okay, definitely something to look at. So that's 5. What's our final at-home strategy? Number 6.
Number 6 is fundamental. It's about the shape of the land right next to your house. We call it land grading.
Grading, so the slope of the yard.
Exactly. Particularly important in areas like Mill Pond or Don Head Village, where sometimes we find the ground actually slopes towards the house instead of away.
Yeah, that seems like an obvious problem, like building a little ramp for water to flow right into the basement.
That's basically what it is. If the ground doesn't slope away, rainwater, snowmelt, it just pools against the foundation walls. Increases the pressure, increases the risk of leaks into the basement or crawl space, and fixing the damage from that can cost thousands.
So what is proper grading? How should it look?
It's pretty simple conceptually. You want the ground immediately around your foundation, say the first 5 to 10 feet out, to slope gently away from the house. Not steeply, just enough to encourage water to flow away naturally.
Sounds simple, but I bet it gets overlooked or done wrong sometimes during landscaping projects.
It happens all the time. Or the ground settles over years. But the good news is, it can be fixed.
So DGI does grading work too.
We do. We offer grading services specifically to correct those improper slopes. We can reshape the landscape near the foundation to ensure water drains away, not towards it.
Okay, so another proactive fix. What kind of impact does getting grading right have? Is it significant?
It really is. Improper grading might lead to, say, 30% more water sitting against your foundation than there should be, but correcting that, ensuring proper slope away, that can reduce your overall risk of basement flooding by up to 60%. It's foundational, really.
60% risk reduction just from reshaping the dirt. Wow. Okay, so those are 6 solid strategies homeowners can look at. But, the city of Richmond Hill also plays a role, right? They have infrastructure.
Oh, absolutely. Richmond Hill has invested heavily in stormwater management. We mentioned the 95-plus ponds, but there's also 550 kilometers of storm sewers, something like 18,000 catch basins across the city. It's a big system designed to handle large amounts of water.
That's quite the network. So it's a combination of homeowner action and city infrastructure.
Exactly. And speaking of city support, there's another program worth mentioning, the Backwater Valve Subsidy Program.
Okay, what's that?
The city offers financial help. I believe it's up to $1,500 for eligible homeowners to install a backwater valve on their main sewer line.
Backwater valve, what does that do exactly?
It's basically a one-way gate on your sewer pipe. It lets sewage and wastewater flow out of your house to the city sewer, as normal. But if the city sewer gets overloaded during a massive storm and starts to back up, the valve closes automatically and prevents that sewage from flowing back into your house through your basement drains.
Oh, wow. Yeah, nobody wants that. That sounds incredibly important during those heavy rains. Who can get this subsidy?
Generally, it's for owners of registered single-family homes, duplexes, triplexes. There are a few conditions. Usually the install needs to be done by a licensed plumber. And critically, your downspouts need to be disconnected from the sanitary sewer. They want to make sure you're not adding extra rainwater to the system you're trying to protect.
Makes sense. And are they effective? Do these valves really work?
Very effective. They can reduce the risk of a sewage backup during a heavy storm by as much as 90%. So with the subsidy helping cover the cost, it's a really smart investment for eligible homeowners.
90% reduction. That's huge peace of mind during a storm. Great that the city offers that support.
It really is. It shows that tackling water issues is kind of a team effort.
Absolutely. So wrapping this up for our Richmond Hill listeners, you can see there are quite a few practical things you can take charge of right now to safeguard your home from flooding.
Yeah, from simpler things like checking your grading or planting a rain garden to bigger steps like professional waterproofing or maybe getting that sump pump checked, especially the backup. Being proactive really is the best approach.
And of course, we here at DGI Waterproofing are always here to help you figure out the best options for your specific house. Every home's a bit different, right?
Exactly. A one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't cut it with water issues.
So we definitely encourage you to visit our website. You can find the address in the show notes, learn a bit more, and you can even schedule a complimentary inspection. We can come out, take a look, and give you tailored advice.
Yeah, let us help you keep that foundation strong and, most importantly, keep that basement dry. It's what we do.
Maybe take a minute after this and just think. Which of these strategies feels most relevant to your place? Is the grading okay? Where do those downspouts actually go? Is that old sump pump still reliable?
Good questions to ask yourself.
Definitely. Being informed, taking action, that's the key.
Okay, join us next time on Building Foundations. We'll keep exploring ways to protect your home. Until then, stay dry, Richmond Hill.